Hi guys, and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to teach you how to give yourself and all your allies alone 25 might, kind of a very advanced elementalist strategy, and in the end do something like this. Aha! So we're going to learn how to hit really hard. What I really want to demonstrate today is not necessarily a build, though I will go over this full build for you guys, but I'm going to teach you guys really how to up your level of gameplay when you're on an elementalist, like how to reach that next tier, how to really do things that you only see very few players do at the very top end of things. This is really more of a PvE and world versus world thing, and I'm going to be talking more about rotations than anything, but this was something I've wanted to do for a while. You know, I've actually, one of the biggest videos on my channel is this kind of stupidly named subpar elementalist build that was flaunting way back when the fact that it got these 10,000 damage fire grab crits. Well, you know, now I know a lot more about the game, and I know that you can hit way harder than that. In fact, what I'm going to be showing you guys today is pushing the theoretical limits of how big of a number you can see as an elementalist, like solo. This doesn't include any support from other players. This is just like a massive hit you can get on your own, and actually something very useful you'll be able to take into dungeons and a variety of places. So this is as high as it really can go as an elementalist on your own without stuff like Banner of Discipline or Frost Spirit and so on. So let's do it. Let's jump straight in. What I'm going to show you guys is fairly standard build-wise, and I'm not going to linger on it for too long. If you are quite a new player just looking at this video and you're really looking at this very high level elementalist stuff coming up, I would recommend maybe you check out my staff build video, which will describe the build much more in general terms and get you used to stuff. But here's the build that I'm running at the moment. We're actually going to be wearing Berserkers, full Berserkers stuff. Now you can change a couple of these trinkets around. You can change your weapon to be an assassin's weapon rather than a Berserker's weapon if you're not hitting 100% crit chance, but we're going full Berserkers on everything. I happen to have infused all my stuff with power infusions, which I still do quite enjoy on Ellie, though because of stuff to do with the power cap, which maybe I'll do another video on, we can talk about why that's not been so great recently. But the runes we're running are Scholar runes, and in general on my weapons, say my staff here, I'm still running a Sigil of Force, which is 5% flat damage, and a Sigil of Night, which is 10% flat damage. For this specific video, to get that really big meaty number, I've actually changed that Sigil of Force into a sigil that does damage to the specific enemy I'm fighting, which in this case is Ice Brood. So here we've got a superior Sigil of Ice Brood slaying. And this is just to demonstrate to you guys how high it can go if you have specific gear for the various enemies you're fighting. You could, in theory, have a different weapon for every dungeon you play and enjoy these massive numbers every time. But so my number's about 5% higher than yours is probably going to be. So that's what I'm doing for gear. The traits I'm running at the moment, this is sort of generic-y staff traits, especially after the update. We won't probably be going in Arcane anymore, we'll be going in Water Magic, but because Blasting Staff is going to be baseline. But basically we've maxed out Fire Magic, specifically for what I'm going to show you in this video. The Persisting Flames is very important. Now this trait means your fire fields last longer and give you Fury. Very important, you want to take that after the update too. This is a fairly standard elementalist setup. We've got more damage for enemies at low health. We've got more damage after we pop an arcane skill. We've got more damage, Tempest defense if you choose to run this against stun foes, which is great with Ice Bow synergy. And yeah, nothing too hard is really playing into this big fire grab we're doing. This is more about the rotation. So what is it special that I'm doing? What is really different here? This is the way we are giving ourselves 25 might all on our own. Now, elementalists have been capable of doing this for a long time. There aren't actually that many classes that can do this, and really it comes down to the fact that we can abuse, because ArenaNet is so free with letting us swap weapons and traits and stuff when we're out of combat, we can actually use a whole ton of blasts all across various elementalist attunements and weapons in one long sequence that gives us 25 might, and, as it happens, if I was in a party, everyone around me 25 might also. So the other little thing that, if you want to start trying to do this, is I'd recommend you actually have 2 gear sets for armor on your elementalist. I would still suggest you have your scholar sets, but also having a strength set. Now this is my world versus world roaming set. It's celestial with strength runes. A set with strength runes are really useful, and if you really want to take it to the top level, you're going to be wanting to wear this stuff while you begin your rotation. So I'm going to go very slowly, piece by piece. The aim here, guys, is to push ourselves to 25 might. then go off and splatter, roll over whoever the hell we want for these really big numbers. And if you look around on YouTube enough for, you know, really good Elementalist gameplay, you'll often see people doing this, and it's very complicated and it happens very quickly, so I wanted to talk you guys step by step through how to pull off this rotation. The rest of the stuff in the build you're probably familiar with at this point for Elementalist, but this specifically we're going to be starting on Scepter and Focus. For what it's worth as well, in this video, it's night time, so we had our Night Sigil procced, and I was actually also using Seaweed Salad, which gives me 10% more damage while moving, and you can fire grab while moving, and again, a potion to deliver a big blow to the specific enemy I'm fighting. So that's what I was doing there, and again, very similar to what you'll be seeing in dungeons. Maybe you won't run Seaweed Salad if you're using a staff. Everything I'm about to show you guys is totally up to you what weapon set you run, whether you want this to be a dagger focus build, whether you want this to be on lightning hammer after, or whether you want this to be a staff build. It works for all of them. This is really just the pre-casting stuff I'm going to show you guys. So, once we've got our Scepter and our Focus equipped, we're going to want to be in Fire Attunement. Now, the most important skill for all of this is we need a Fire Field. The whole goal is to drop a Fire Field and then put a ton of blasts in it. Now, the Fire Field we're going to be using is Flame Wall. This is very tricky to land, which I'll talk about in a second, because it's kind of this long, thin wall, which I'll drop here so you guys can see. But it does have the perk of being the longest duration fire field that the Elementalist has available to them. Maybe even the longest duration fire field in the entire game. Now, that doesn't really count for too much, but for this, specifically, it counts for a lot. It'll actually last 10 seconds. And that's, again, because of our trait, Persisting Flames, which has increased its duration. So, over these 10 seconds, while this thing exists, we're going to, across tons of different weapons and utility skills, drop a bunch of blasts. Well, we also have a Scepter equipped, and this is pretty useful because we have 2 blasts straight away. We have Phoenix, which is a ground-targeted blast. We can just angle it wherever we like, and that would blast in the field. And then we have Dragon's Tooth. Dragon's Tooth is probably the most annoying part of this entire combo. Once you get used to this, you'll be fine. Now, Dragon's Tooth is a 900 range ability that if you have a target, will always drop it over the enemy of your target. So this Ice Brood Claymore over here, for example, if I use this, it'll appear above his head because I had him targeted, and what do you know, we managed to get some damage off on him, and that's fine. However, if you don't have a target, Dragon's Tooth is just going to get fired somewhat loosely based on where your camera is facing. See, just like if I were to equip my staff, okay, and I have no target, if I auto-attack, these things don't just go randomly, they actually go where my character's looking. So if I, say, went in first person and looked up, you'll actually notice the projectiles of my stuff are going up. There's kind of this weird FPS-y element to Guild Wars 2, which rarely we have to pay attention to. Well, that's actually going to happen with Dragon's Tooth as well. This is a thing about the skill I think a lot of starting Elementalists don't realize. So, if I am looking just forward, it'll go 900 range in front of me. However, if I'm looking in the sky, it will try and go 900 range above us, but it can't be cast very high again, away from the floor, and so it'll actually cast, as long as all things go well, very close to us instead. But there you see that didn't work. Dragon's Tooth is buggy as all hell. The most annoying thing about this combo is getting to a position where you can cast a Dragon's Tooth relatively close to you. So we'll try this again. It'll actually stay much closer to you now, instead of being far away. And this is really useful. You can't ground target Dragon's Tooth like Phoenix, so this is a blast when it lands, and we want it to land in this flame wall. So what the whole goal of this is we want to look into the sky, cast the Dragon's Tooth, and then very quickly drop our flame wall underneath it, so it lands on it and blasts. Now, this is really frustrating because, obviously, we can't just have our camera like this and then catch it really quickly and see it where it is because it will appear in front of us. So you have to do some annoying camera trickery. Get used to this little motion, guys. I'm still terrible at it, and frankly, it's only worth 1 blast, so don't be too worried if you miss, but being able to nail this consistently is something that's quite useful. So that one went too far away from us, but the whole idea here is we're going to try and catch our Dragon's Tooth in our Flame Wall. Now, this is being really, really, really fiddly for me, which will explain the cuts you're seeing here, but hopefully, see, it's going so far away. Come on, man. Alright, we'll try it again. So we want to look up to the last second. The thing is, you want to pull the camera down right at the last moment so it stays close, but you've got enough time to drop the flame wall. That's pretty much how you do it. It didn't blast. I was still a second out. Once you've done that, though, you will have 3 might waiting for you already, and then we're just going to slowly go through the rest of our skills. And the whole goal here, guys, is we're going to go from our leftmost achievements, so fire achievement first, and we're going to work our way through the other achievements, slowly blasting as we go. So we'll drop a flame wall. And we'll Phoenix. Now what we want to do is go to Water Attunement. Now in Water Attunement, you're still on Scepter Focus, and the 5 is already a Blast. Comet works a lot like Dragon's Tooth, and so again, you kind of, for maximum chance of this thing landing, you want to look up again and cast Drop the Comet in your Flame Wall. Now that's going to be really frustrating, and I often don't bother with that. So instead, what you'll probably just want to do is keep looking down at the ground and drop your Comet in such a way that it will also land in the Flame Wall. So here, I'll try and demonstrate with you guys this time. If we got this Dragon's Tooth close. No, I'm still too late with that, but here we go. So we're going to swap into Water Attunement. We're going to use our 5 here. The Comet lands, that's another Blast. Now we're going to swap a weapon. So we're going to come over to our Hero panel. Now, I have it down here in the bottom right-hand corner of my screen, so I still get a lot of view. This is where things will start getting a little bit fiddly. But obviously, you're just using skills here, which should be on your keyboard. Your mouse can be free to do whatever it wants. You're going to want it to come over here and to just double-click a dagger, which is why I have my dagger in the top left slot. What the double-clicking the dagger is going to do is it's going to swap your scepter into a dagger, and the skill 3 here, Frozen Burst, is also a blast. And then you're going to pop that. So you're going to go the skill 5 with the Comet, which will blast. Then you're going to go the skill 3 with the Frozen Burst, which is also a blast. So now we've had 4. We've had Dragon's Tooth, we've had Phoenix, we've had Comet, and we've had Frozen Burst, which is pretty good. Now, once we're done with Water Attunement, we're going to want to swap to Earth Attunement. Now, the second we go into Earth Attunement, this guy's attacking us. Again, we have a blast immediately available to us. Now, this is probably the easiest blast in the entire rotation. This is your skill 4. This is Magnetic Wave, one of my favorite skills on Elementalist. All we care about right now, though, is its instant activation, and it is a blast. And it's not ground target. It doesn't need to land anywhere. It just blasts around you, as you'll see here. That would blast. So we're going to swap into Earth Attunement, and then we're going to pop our Magnetic Wave for a 5th blast. Once we're done with that, we're going to equip another dagger. So we swapped one dagger before onto our main hand. Now the last weapon swap we need to do is swap one into our offhand. So we're going to grab our second dagger here. We can't just double click it. We have to right click it and select Equip in Offhand. And by doing this, oh look, we have 2 more blasts. We have Earthquake and we have Churning Earth. Churning Earth has a huge cast time though. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to use Earthquake first. Then, before we use Churning Earth, which will still be casting when the fire field disappears, we want to quickly sneak in our heal skill, which is Arcane Brilliance. Now, this is a blast finisher and will proc a lightning trait on you that immediately means you're doing more damage. So we're going to go Arcane Brilliance for a blast. Then we're going to go Churning Earth. All of this together will put you to 24 might. If you desperately want the 25 might, you can also pop Arcane Wave, which is instant activation, which means you can cast it during Churning Earth, and you can push yourself to 25. A lot of really good Ellie players, though, they'll wait with this Arcane Wave until they're actually fighting, and then they'll use it at that point to be able to chain their trait along, okay, their lightning trait. So that's kind of the way that that works. Now, we'll go through it once more, and we'll go a little bit slower. So we start on Scepter Focus, and we end on Dagger Dagger. There is no staff swapping in here, even though the staff does have a blast on it. So we'll try and go a little bit quicker. I don't know whether I'll do it through the entire fire field, because I'm going to try and describe it to you guys as we go. But we're going to be looking up with the Dragon's Tooth. We're going to try and catch it, even if we miss. It doesn't matter. Then we're going to use Phoenix. We're going to swap to Water Attunement. We're going to use the skill 5. We're going to put on a dagger. We're going to use the skill 3. We're going to go to Earth Attunement, use the skill 4. We're going to put on our second dagger. We're going to use the skill 4 again. Then we're going to use Arcane Brilliance, and then we're going to use Churning Earth. And then if we really want, we can top it off with the Arcane Wave. So, if that seemed like a lot, obviously I did that very slow, so the fire field ran out before it was even finished. But if you want to look at the rotation perfectly, that's the rotation there. You can replay this little bit of the video. You can even on YouTube slow it down if you like and make my voice sound really funny. But here, we'll try and go for another full one. And if I don't land it, then I can just replay the footage from the start of the video. Do consider your longest cooldown skill we're using in this entire rotation is actually hiding there in Earth Attunement. It's the skill 4. So if you're trying to do these back-to-back, wait a couple of seconds just for that thing to cool down. Otherwise, you'll find you get to the Earthquake and it's not there. So here we go. We'll try once again. I find it funny that it's supposedly nighttime in-game right now and it's bright as all balls out. Alright, here we go. So we're going to drop our Dragon's Tooth. We're going to catch it. There we go. We actually caught it this time. Then we're going to go here. We're going to use the skill 5. We missed that one this time, but that's fine. Then we're going to go there. And lastly, we're going to go there. So this is 24 might. I missed one of them. That was the Comet that I missed. But now we have 24 might. And this might's going to last quite a while because of our strength runes. And we could, of course, just go off and kill someone right now. So we've got this Ice Brood guy here. This is a reasonable duration, so you don't have to panic too much. It's still on me. And we can go into him and then miss the fire grab, which is wonderful. And fight stuff. Or, if you really want to take it to the very next level, while you're casting the Churning Earth, and just before you engage in your mobs, why not swap your armor back out? Now, this is Celestial gear I'm wearing here. This is my Zerk gear. This is the stuff that actually does a lot of damage. This has Scholar Runes. The Scholar Runes are actually going to give me way more damage, especially considering the fact that they're infused. So what I might like to do is to really be able to maximize my solo damage. I can do the whole rotation, and then I can swap my armor off. And this means that I get the perks of having really long-lasting might, but then I also get the perks of my other rune set. And of course, this all requires that you're out of combat. And that, guys, is pretty much what I showed you at the start of the video. So let's try it again live.
Rage at maximum.
Did we miss 2? It looks like we missed 2 of them this time. So we got 28. And then, obviously, this time we got 21, sorry. And then this time we can swap our Scholar stuff back on. And, you know, we can beat someone over the head really hard. We didn't even get a crit there. Look, that was a 24k fire grab crit. And that wasn't even under the effects of the trait. That wasn't even under the effects of friggin' a lot of the might. So you can really see just how massive numbers you can come out with. Of course, you don't need to be doing this thing. I'm only using this for comparison back to the old video. You could, of course, swap on your staff and do insane damage with a meteor shower. Your build could have always had, you don't need arcane shield here. You could have your frostbow on, and then you could immediately frostbow something and just get ridiculous numbers blowing up bosses. A couple of tips from me to you guys then on this rotation, since that's pretty much all of it detailed out in its entirety for you. A couple of tips would be in the way you set up your inventory. Now, this hero panel is quite nice, okay? I've got my weapons on top, and then I've got my armor that appears underneath. And so I always know, hey, whenever I press H, I can always move it down into this corner, and this is the stuff I care about. However, if you're doing dungeons, if you're doing anything and loot is coming in, if you don't have your inventory set up correctly, you're going to have random trash items appearing in here, and that's really going to complicate things and make it very difficult to swap your stuff around. So what I would suggest you do is organize things so that your weapons come first in your inventory, then your second armor set, or third or fourth, however much stuff you choose to clutter stuff up with, and then whatever else. Like, so then I've got my consumables, and my regular items then will filter in here. And what that means is on the hero panel, if I get random items, they appear after the armor. And so then this is intact, this is preserved, and this will always be the way I want it to be. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. This is kind of a more advanced Elementalist guide thing, something I've wanted to talk about for a while. It is something I think most Elementalists worth their salt should look into doing eventually. It does become second nature. I wish I could say that the Dragon's Tooth catching with the Flame Wall thing got easier, but frankly it's just annoying as all hell, and probably always will be. But hey, as long as one player on your team gives you some might, you'll probably be alright. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. I've been excited about doing this video for a long time, because I do look back at that old one and I look at how long I agonized over getting that big hit of damage, you know, the 10k, and we just got 24,000 damage. It really shows how far we've come. You know, not all of that is power creep, that's more understanding of the way that the game works, and it's kind of nice for this retrospective. Maybe in another 2 years I'll be saying, hey, here's how you land your 50k fire grabs, which undoubtedly are probably possible in dungeons already, but like a solo 50k, well, we'll see. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. This has been interesting for me for multiple reasons. Hope it was for you too, and I guess I'll see you next time.